Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rafiki's Planet Watch. My name's Megan. I'm one of the keepers here. And joining me in just a moment with Michaela there is going to be a special animal friend. So if you can hear my voice and you're like, where's that disembodied voice coming from? Spin around in circles, please. See somebody waving. Hi, that's me. You guys are welcome to come over here and join us if you'd like. If you happen to be in our affection section, we're just going to ask that you either watch from the fence line or exit out through the hand wash area to come over and sit at our seats. So Michaela is seeing if our friend wants to join us. So she is currently inside of our magic log. She doesn't always come out of the magic log, so she could be a little shy at the moment, or what is going on, Michaela? But what we can see Michaela doing is she's using a target to see if our special friend, there she comes, our special friend will figure out which direction to go to. So when she touches that target, Michaela will click, and then our special friend will know they did the correct behavior. All right, so I heard some ahs and coos. So what is our special friend? An armadillo, yes. So you're welcome to watch. We are going to ask, though, that you stay back at our benches. Thank you. So what type of armadillo is she? Because there are 20 different types of armadillos out there. Go ahead, just shout it out.
Looks like an African.
So not an African armadillo. She is found more down in South America. She is a screaming, hairy armadillo. So her name describes her perfectly. She screams when she's scared, and she's hairy. You can see the hairs coming off her back. She's not fully like fluffy like you might see with our goats, but she has lots of long hairs all over her body. And then the screaming part is a really excellent defense mechanism that she has. So when she feels threatened or scared, she makes a very loud screaming sound. And she's like, I go back here. This is fun, I explore in here. And that screaming sound, in theory, would scare off predators. So our predators would hear that, go, oh no, my food should not make those sounds. Drop it, leave, make sure that they're not going to get hurt or sick from that. Imagine if you took a bite out of a hamburger and suddenly it screamed at you. Probably not going to eat that hamburger anymore. Going like, oh, that's weird, don't feel like getting sick today. So that's one of her defense mechanisms. And those hairs on her body also can help if a predator is trying to take a chomp. They might miss, grab one of those hairs instead. Another defense mechanism that a lot of people think all armadillos have, what is it?
Rolling up.
Rolling up, right? So I'm going to break everybody's hearts today. There is only one of those 20 species of armadillo that can actually roll up completely into a ball. That is the three-banded armadillo. No other species of armadillo can do that. So she really relies on that screaming mechanism. She does have a soft underbelly, so she can crunch up a little to try to make herself a little bit smaller. Oh, she's going to wear her hat. But she cannot curl up fully into a ball, so predators do flip the armadillos on their back. So it's very important that they be able to kind of like wiggle, move their way, or scream very, very loudly. Carrying here is something called an insectivore. If you are an insectivore, what do you eat? Just shout it out.
Cows.
Insects. Cows are great. Yes, you know, insectivores, cowivores. I'm a cowivore, if you will. I like eating hamburgers. But she eats bugs. So here at Disney, she gets a specialized bug pellet called insectivore pellet that has all of those nice, yummy nutrients that she needs that she might not get from the selection of bugs that we are able to feed her. When feeding insectivores in zoological institutions, we are not allowed to feed non-native bug species because they have a chance of breaking free and going and becoming invasive species in our own native habitats. So, knowing that we don't necessarily have all the same bugs that they have in South America, we give her this specialized insectivore pellet to make sure we round out those nutrients that we might not be able to provide with the bugs we are allowed to provide to her. So she also gets produce. That might sound a little weird that we give her produce when she's an insectivore, but most insectivore species out there opportunistically do eat plants. If you happen to live up north, how many bugs are around in the middle of the wintertime? Not a lot, right? The bug population plummets. There's not going to be as much food for these animals. So they do have to search for their foods in other places, and they will fill out their diet sometimes with plant life just so they can get some extra nutrients when the bug populations are not as high. This is one of my favorite things that she does. She likes to go in there. She can get out just like she can get back in, but she just walks around with it. It's like her little hat. Oh, there was a worm in the ball. I see the worm now. Now it's about to go under. But she goes in just fine. She's wiggling her way out. Michaela said that she had put a worm in that ball. So she managed to get the worm out. Now she's just trying to figure out how to get the worm inside of her hut. It's currently on the ground, half in the hut, half out, but in the backside. And she's getting a little wax worm. It's one of her favorite snacks. Another one of her favorite snacks is watermelon. That is one of her training treats that she gets. Karen had the choice to join us today. If she did not want to join us today, she did not have to. So what Michaela did is she has a transport crate. So she went and asked Karen if she would go in it. Karen said yes. That is her way of saying, yep, I want to train. And then if she didn't want to train, that's fine. All of the snacks that she's getting are part of her daily diet. So she would just get it later today, either in enrichment or just part of her dinner. Does anybody have any questions about armadillos so far? Or screaming hairy armadillos? No, that's okay. Has anybody heard of a specific disease that you can get from armadillos? Just shout it out.
Lyme disease?
Not Lyme disease, but it does begin with an L.
Armadillosons.
No, not armadillo. Go ahead. Leprosy. So, there is a huge kind of overarching myth, or there is truth behind it that you can get leprosy from armadillos. So for a very long time, humans were very afraid of armadillos because of this leprosy issue. Truth is, more than likely, we are the ones that gave leprosy to them, not them to us. But then also on top of that, about 95% of the human population is immune to leprosy. So your chance of getting leprosy from an armadillo is very, very low. And then if you're part of that 5% of the population that can get leprosy, you are more likely to get leprosy by traveling abroad or in places where there's leprosy hotspots than from getting it from armadillos. Now, for that 5% of the population that has the ability to catch leprosy, easiest way to not get it from an armadillo is don't eat armadillos. So it's the easiest way. Most people will get it, if they have the ability to get it, from eating undercooked armadillo meat that has been contaminated with feces. So wash your hands, wash your meat, don't eat armadillo. That's your best way of staying away from leprosy. You won't have to really worry about it. Plus, it is very, very treatable nowadays. So if you happen to see an armadillo in the natural environment, here in Florida, we have the 9-banded. We have 9-banded, right? Yeah. 9-banded. Always forget. We have the 9-banded armadillos here in Florida, so on your vacation. Oh, no! There she goes. Michaela's going to help her out and give her a little flip. So you have a chance of seeing a 9-banded armadillo here in Florida during your vacation. If you happen to see them, we all have these handy-dandy picture things in our pockets nowadays. Take it out, take a picture. It's a great way to remember, but do not approach them. And that goes for all natural animals and the natural environment. Don't approach them, take a picture, admire them from afar, and that's the best way to keep yourself safe and keep them safe. You got a question?
Can we pet him?
So we're not going to be able to pet Miss Karen. So she does have a trained behavior where she goes onto a carpet square, and when she goes onto that carpet square is when she decides that you're allowed to give her brushes. We just don't have that set up right now. We like to make sure all of our animals, including our goats and sheep out here, have their choice to participate in training sessions and even being touched. So as you see, we have these ropes out here. So if any of our animals decide they do not want to be touched, they have the option to walk away, go in the ropes where they can't be reached, and take a break. So same thing with her. In a situation like this, without that little carpet square of having her way of saying, nope, it's okay to touch me, she wouldn't have a choice. So we want to make sure Miss Karen here has a choice. And then one thing people do ask is if her name is Karen because she is a screaming hairy armadillo. And I want to say, Karen here is 19 years old. So she was named Karen well before that was a thing. But what's really cool about her being 19 years old is she is telling us new information about her species every day. So when we first got her, she was under a year old, I believe. She might have been a year old. And we were under the impression that screaming hairy armadillos lived 6 to 8 years. She's currently 19. We were clearly very, very wrong. So that's one of the cool things about having her species here in a zoological institution is we learn new things about them every day. We learn nutritional requirements. If they have babies, we can learn the fat content of their milk, which sounds really weird, but can be very important if you ever need to hand rear a rescued situation. We learn their ages. At what age do they start getting normal age-related issues? For Karen here, I'd say it was probably when she started around 12. She started to hit some of those normal age-related issues. So you saw Michaela had to help flip Karen. That is because Karen has arthritis and spondylosis. So she is not able to fully flip herself if she does nothing above her to grab onto. So out in the natural environment, Miss Karen would have already become somebody's dinner. Here at Disney, she has no predators. She does not have to worry about that. She's got us, and we have keepers here 24 hours a day. So if she is stuck on her back, one of us will come around and help her out and flip her back over. And then when she's not walking around in her hut, you can see she kind of walks with a little bit of like a hip dip. And that is because of her arthritis. So she's just got normal age-related changes, some arthritis where in her leg it just causes her to move her hips a little bit differently than when she was young and spry. She's real cute. She found one of her snack spots. She has a shell game that she plays there too. So I'm going to assume there's a bug under one of them. Oh, she found it. So they will hide bugs under them, and you can see must not have been a bug under that one because she didn't flip it over, and that one under that one either because she also didn't flip that one over. She went straight for the bug. She's got a very, very good sniffer. When you're an insectivore and your prey is very small and very good at hiding, having a very good sniffer definitely helps you be able to find your food. Does anybody have any questions? Everybody has all the armadillo knowledge in the world now. Yeah, she's pretty cool. One of my favorite things about Karen here is one of my first days being on this specific team, Miss Karen had a complete hysterectomy, which is really weird to say because she is super duper tiny, but our vets are really just that skilled where Miss Karen was showing us that she had reproductive issues happening that definitely needed some addressing. Turns out endometriosis. Women out there have it. Sorry, I do too. It's okay. Miss Karen here doesn't have to worry about it anymore because she did have a hysterectomy. And her uterus was like, probably about the size of the microphone head, which is crazy to think about how tiny she is. She lost around 100 grams, I think it was. I'm trying to remember. I can look back in her records. That's how much she lost in weight just after that surgery. We have excellent health care for our animals here. Our vets are located right here in this building. If you haven't been in yet, definitely head inside. You can see our vet hospital there. They do surgery procedures on everything from our biggest elephants down to our tiniest animals. We in the past have twice had to do C-sections on a tenrec, which is tinier than her, fits in the palm of your hand. The babies weighed about 6 grams, if that, like tiny, tiny, tiny things, and they're able to do really, really incredible things here for them. She also has a nutritionist. I wish I had one of those. That would be very, very nice. But she does have a nutritionist that helps plan all of her meals and then also make sure that everything we are providing does meet her nutritional requirements for a nice, healthy, happy life. For our friends that are joining us, the animal we have out today is a moving igloo. No, I'm just kidding. She's underneath the moving igloo. She is a screaming hairy armadillo. She's pretty cool. If you want to hear what the screaming sounds like, just Google it. It's right there on YouTube right away. It is a very high-pitched, kind of annoying scream. I have heard her scream twice in my 5 years of being here, and both times she screamed at me was because I told her it was time to go home when she did not want to go home. So when she was a little bit younger and didn't have as much arthritis issues, yeah, you just want to go sit down on the bench to watch her. So when she didn't have as many arthritic issues, I would just open her enclosure door and let her walk around the area I was cleaning and just go for a walk there, and it's fine. Have an adventure. And then when it was time to go home and she did not want to go home, she would scream at me. And I was like, that's not very nice. You have to go home. I have to do other things now. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions? I've asked a couple times. It's all right. Karen here does get enrichment every day, so some people sometimes are like, why are there plastic balls out here? So some of the plastic balls out here do have holes, like this one has holes, and Michaela put a worm inside of it, so in order for Karen to get the worm out, she did have to knock it into it and push the bug out. The other balls are just there for her to push around as well. We sometimes give her a ball pit with a bunch of balls in it and then put her food inside, so she has to do that natural foraging action. All the enrichment that we do targets those natural actions that they might do out in the natural environment. So foraging is a big one, making sure she does have adequate foraging opportunities. So since she doesn't get as many live insects as she would in the natural environment, we make sure that the pellets that we do provide for her are easier for her to kind of still do those natural hunting instincts. So the shelving, putting the food in these balls for her to push around. And then also sometimes her enrichment is shelter items. So technically this igloo is considered a shelter. So she has them in her enclosure as well. So she sleeps in them usually, but when she comes out here, she wears it as a hat and pushes it around. It's really fun. Other things that we do provide for her are dig pits. So her species of armadillo are very, very good diggers. Karen does not get deep substrate to dig in anymore because she got too many ear infections from getting dirt in her ears and not being able to clear it. Probably just another one of those age-related changes. So she doesn't get deep dig pits anymore, but we do provide her some shallower dig pits, and then we'll bury some bugs in there. One of my favorite enrichments we ever gave her was dirt from another animal. So we do have aardvarks that live here at Disney. They're backstage here. And I took some of the dirt out of the aardvark enclosure because the aardvark enclosure is about 6 feet deep because they are also burrowing animals. So theirs is about 6 feet deep. They had plenty of dirt to share with Karen, and I gave her a big pan of aardvark dirt actually out here during one of our presentations. And she spent the entire time digging around in there. It was really cute, and she was like kind of scooching down into it. So we like to provide them with things like that where species appropriate. So for her, very appropriate to get dig pits. Yeah. She is 19 years old. So that is very, very, very old for a screaming hairy armadillo. When we originally got her, we were under the impression that their lifespan was 6 to 8 years. And she's 19. So we learned a lot from having her here, that their lifespan really goes beyond that 6 to 8 range. It definitely goes up into the teens. She was probably considered geriatric around 12. So like some, with humans, average life expectancies, not everybody makes it to there, not everybody passes away at that average life expectancy. So she's definitely, think of her as probably like your 90, 100-year-old human. Definitely can get there, but not everybody's gonna make it to that age range. So with Miss Karen here, she's definitely up there. Say hi, Dylan. Dylan came to check out Karen. So she definitely can make it up to those more extreme age ranges. One of the reasons we didn't really know that they could live past 6 to 8 is just basically limited studies done on them out in the natural environment. They are very tiny and they do live in more remote areas of South America. So sometimes it's just simply hard to study them or hard to get resources to study them. Nobody wants to work for free, and that includes our researchers. So without grants to research animals, they might not dedicate their time freely to go and research them. They still have to feed themselves and their families. So we didn't have a lot of information about how long they might survive out in the natural environment. And then also to get that information on how long they survive out in the natural environment, you've got to kind of basically follow them from birth. So you have to see them when they have been first born, have a way to tag them so you can find them later in life, and then you can definitely track them throughout the years. We do that here with purple martins. It's really cool. So purple martins are a type of bird. We have purple martin bird house. I'm saying it too fast. Purple martin bird houses. There we go. We have them all over our property. We have a bunch of them here at Animal Kingdom. There is some on the pathway out to the train station. They're also at a bunch of the different resorts. There's some over at Epcot as well. And the purple martins fly here to Florida every year to nest. So what we do is they go into those nests, and we have volunteers from around our keeper teams and our animal programs teams that sign up to monitor those nests. So what they do is they go out every day, they survey the birds flying in and out. They look for banded birds that have tags on them that they might have gotten when they were babies born here. And they can see who's come back year after year after year. And those banded tags have numbers on them so they can see how old they are, what number trip this is back to Disney World. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys are on more than your first trip to Disney World. It's a fun place to come back to. So they come back every year. And then with the chicks that are born, they opportunistically are able to tag some of them. So when they come back here as adults, because they will come back as adults to where they were hatched, we know who's coming back. Pretty cool. Awesome. You ready to send her home? So she said she'll try. It might take a while because Miss Karen's transport container. Oh, she brought a ball in there with her. Look at that. Because Miss Karen's crate happens to be in the magic log. It's usually kind of more out here, easier to see for her. So Michaela is going to guide her back to that area if she chooses to follow her. By having her follow that target. So the target is something an animal moves towards, and in this case, she's going to move towards it and touch it with her nose. Other animals are trained to touch targets with different parts of their bodies as well. So Karen is trained to touch it with her nose. Michaela taps it on the ground to let her know where it's at. She goes up to it, she touches it with her nose. She does have a clicker on that. It's very kind of light sounding, so it sounds like this, just like that. You might use them with your dogs at home with training. And that click is something we call a bridge. It's something that bridges the gap of time between her doing the correct behavior and her receiving her reinforcement, which in this case is snacks. So imagine if you're trying to learn how to do something and they don't speak the same language as you, and you do the correct thing, but it takes a while for you to get your, let's say, piece of pizza. You've done 3 things between doing the right thing and receiving that piece of pizza, so you have no idea what you were just rewarded for. So that bridge allows them to know that exact moment in time they did that correct behavior, and that reinforcement is on its way. So you'll see she'll touch it, and then she'll kind of wiggle and go away from it, and then she'll come back at her reinforcement. It's part of our positive reinforcement campaign. So positive reinforcement for her is that the stimulus we are adding is treats. So in parts of her diet. So that insectivore pellet, today it looks like she's got some sweet potato bits in there. She's got some watermelon and some bugs as well. Yeah, this is relatively newer of her going back home through the magic log. She's done it a few times, but she's not quite a pro at it yet. She's doing fantastic though. It looks like Michaela's doing a little gingerbread trail for her. She's like, no, I want to stay out here. So I mentioned in the beginning that all of our animals have choice and control, whether they want to come out here and participate in our presentations or training sessions. That mostly goes for the go home as well. So she has the choice to go back into that crate. So if she doesn't go into it with the setup that Michaela has here, Michaela will just make it easier for her. We still want her to have the choice to go back into that crate. And we've got till 7 o'clock this evening before we have to go home to convince her to go back in. So what she just did there is made it easier. She brought her crate towards the front of the magic log, and then she's going to ask her to crate that way. And if that still doesn't work, she'll probably just bring the crate all the way out here, put it right in front of Karen, so it makes it just a little bit easier for her. She might not want to go in there because magic log smells weird. Yesterday a porcupine came out of it. It's dark. All sorts of things. It looks like she might be choosing to go in. Is she going to? She's in the threshold. She's going around the door. She's trying to sneak past it. And we're in. There we go. Awesome. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank you. I'll be hanging out here for a few minutes. If anybody has any more questions, wants to come up and ask them, feel free to do so. But if not, thank you all so much for joining us today, and have a magical day at Animal Kingdom.